Hey there, welcome to SI Now. It is December 22nd, and I'm Maggie Gray. Let's be honest, oftentimes when celebrities claim to be sports fans, we're skeptical. But some actors and musicians are the real deal. We found some true sports junkies when the members of Rascal Flatts stopped by. Now, those guys are sports fans. So Gary and Joe, Don and Jay, we want to tap in a little to your sports fandom. We know 2 out of the 3 huge Ohio State Buckeye fans and from Columbus. So Gary, tell us, what makes Buckeye fans unique?
You know, it's the atmosphere. You know, you're kind of born, when you're born in that state, you're born with a Buckeye onesie on. It's either got Brutus on it or you've got Woody Hayes or something. So it's just part of it. And the other part of it is that, you know, a Buckeye is literally a worthless nut. That's
you identify with that.
Yeah,
and the Webster's dictionary.
Yeah, but it's the atmosphere, it's the environment, it's the horseshoe, it's a part of our DNA. You know, we bleed scarlet and gray. We do.
So Joe, Don, you're from Oklahoma. You're a Sooner fan.
Sooners all day long.
So defend yourself against these Buckeye fans. Who's got the better game day experience?
They couldn't this year.
Well, yeah, we couldn't this year. I can't really speak on that because they handed it to us at home in Norman. My gosh, it was tough. But I will say this about these 2 guys, about Ohio State. There's really nothing like going to the shoe and experiencing a game. It's unbelievable.
Tell us about what that experience is like for you, Jay.
The feeling in there is like a huge homecoming, and it's just this, almost a spiritual experience for me to stand on the sidelines. And, you know, one of the best things ever was the fact that we got to sing the national anthem in the middle of the field on the 50-yard line. The only group ever to sing it, because for 100-some-odd years, the best damn band in the land has always played it. And Tressel was the coach at that point in time, and he said, "These are my boys, they're hometown boys. They're going to sing the anthem." And
10-year anniversary, 9/11.
Yeah, 10-year anniversary of 9/11. It was one of the most moving experiences I've ever had.
But I tell you what, though, the Hurricanes were winning at halftime, and we said, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. They'll never ask you back. But that means a lot because you guys have sung the national anthem at the NBA Finals, at the World Series. Yeah. I mean, what are those experiences like? Because you're not singing your own song. Is it more nerve-wracking?
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's a cappella. So, I mean, you're standing out there virtually naked, and there's nowhere to go. And you're either going to nail it or you're going to fall dead on your face. And so, and you know, that not just doing the anthem, but being in that environment and going, okay, well, the entire world is watching. Don't screw it up. And, you know, like at the World Series, we had friends that played on both teams, and you know, so you're doing it in front of friends too, and you don't want to screw it up. So everything that could give you stress and make you want to eat Xanax like Tic Tacs is about the anthem.
Like Tic Tacs. I'll tell you this too. We have a perfect record. Every home team we've sung the national anthem for. So if you're watching out there, you want some good luck. The team has won it every time we sung.
Holler at your boys.
You got to book Rascal Flatts. You know, this is amazing, though, because you guys also have a song called What Hurts the Most. And any sports fan has a personal experience of what hurts the most to them. Jay, Joe, Don, Gary, do you have a what hurts the most sports fan? Tell me.
Cincinnati Bengals fan going to the Super Bowl twice and getting beat by Joe Montana both times.
Yeah.
Still stings.
You don't get over that?
No, I don't get over it. I was bawling like a baby, like with my grandpa sitting beside me. I never will forget it as long as I live.
Montana did it to my Cowboys, too.
Yeah.
To Clark in the back of the end zone. Montana's not a good guy.
Did we mention we hate Joe Montana?
We'll make sure to send this tape directly to him so he completely understands.
We actually love him. We know him and we love him.
Meet him, like several years back, and he said, "Man, I'll work out to y'all's music." I was like, "Wow, you're kidding me."
We heard that you guys are also major golf fans. So I want to ask you for your dream foursome. And let's take members of the band out of it. Okay. Just who would you like to play around with? Which other 3 people would you like to play 18 with? Gary, you want to start?
Yeah, well, I've got to play with one. We're really good friends, so I would keep him on my team. Would be Bubba Watson, Tiger, the Golden Bear.
Okay.
And
pretty good.
That's a pretty good foursome right there. And you, where are you in this scenario?
I'm a cart driver. Okay. I'm going to feed them alcohol and cigars.
stories.
Yeah, and let them tell me stories and play for me. I get to claim the card at the end, but
Yeah.
I'll be their cart girl.
I like it. Good pick.
Thanks,
Good,
man.
real good.
What do you guys think? Joe Don?
I'd probably go with, I'll round it out a little bit. Probably John Daly. I think it'd be fabulous.
Yeah, a
Not
little
gotten to play with John, but
entertainment.
Tiger, I gotta go with Tiger.
Yeah.
Another legend. Golden Bear for sure.
Jack?
Jack, and probably throw in Adam Scott.
I got to go with. We had a chance to play with him about 3 years ago. I got to go with George W.
Oh yeah.
He was
love
just
it.
a hoot. He's really funny. Like a lot of people don't realize that he's really witty. Phil Mickelson, I'd have to throw him in there.
Phil, yeah,
just
he's a great guy.
Spitting
guy.
these names out, I keep forgetting.
Justin Rose, have to go with him. He's a
Rose.
buddy of mine, and myself. I'd put myself in there because I can beat Justin's. No doubt
Yeah.
about it. I can. I hope
You heard
you're
it,
watching,
Rosie. You
Justin.
calling Rosie out right now?
Yeah, I'm calling him out.
All right. Yeah.
Listen, guys, congratulations on the new album,
you.
Greatest Gift of All. Maybe send it to some of your favorite athletes. Why not? They
Yeah.
can work out to it. Maybe it'll get
I
the
gifted
Christmas
it to
spirit.
Elway and never heard anything. So I don't know.
John
No
Elway.
news is good news.
Yeah. Huh?
No news is good news.
I guess so. Yeah, we're going to leave it at that.
Guys, have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank
Happy
you. You
holidays.
too.
Really appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Sounds like a fun day on the golf course, although I think those guys are the life of the party no matter where they are. Moving on, history was made on the racetrack this year. Daniel Suarez became the first man from Latin America to win a NASCAR championship. I asked the native of Mexico what that accomplishment means to him and also what it's like to race for football legend Joe Gibbs. The 2016 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion Daniel Suarez joins me now from Las Vegas, Nevada. It's courtesy of Toyota. Let's go places. Daniel, last month you finished an amazing season. You won the Xfinity Series crown at Homestead, and you became the first Latin driver to claim a NASCAR championship. Looking back on it, what did that moment mean for you?
That sounds pretty good. It's hard to believe that it was last month. We're already in December, but yeah, it was a very, very good entire 2016 season overall. Strong year. The first half of the year was good, but the second half of the year was great. And the last 2 months of racing, October and November, we were very strong, finishing in the top 5 every single race, being consistent, being contending for wins, and winning the most important race of the season. That was the last race in Homestead Miami Speedway. It was just a weekend that I will never forget, and I had the opportunity already to win the race and win the championship, but as well to enjoy those moments with my family and friends, and that's something that for me is super important as well.
It really goes to show how far you've come. You're only 24 years old. You moved to the United States from Mexico at the age of 18. You learned English by watching cartoons. What were the challenges of trying to not only learn English and the language, but break into racing?
Well, it was a big challenge. It was a very, very big challenge. When I moved to the United States 5 years ago, I was more focused on about to learn the language, English, than to learn how to drive a soccer racing. And that was very tough in my racing career. Right after that, right after I started picking up the language, I started winning races and being a little more successful in the Canadian Series. And then I had my opportunity with Joe Gibbs Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And the rest is history. It's been a lot of fun, enjoying the ride and enjoying these moments a lot.
How have you found success so early in your career?
Well, I think everything is about the people that is around me, my team, my family, my sponsors, all the people that help me to keep working hard, and the dedication of the 19 Irish Toyota Camry. This group, the 19 group, is very, very good. We get along very well, and like I said in the beginning of the year, we were hungry. We were hungry to be successful. We were hungry to win races, and it's exactly what we did. We moved our way to the front slowly to be very strong in the second half of the year. And I'm just very proud of this team. I'm very proud that all the hard work that we did in the entire 2016 season, it paid off in Homestead Miami Speedway.
You're a graduate of NASCAR's diversity program. You were also the Xfinity Series Rookie of the Year in 2015. You're building up this great resume. How long will it be before we see you as a Cup Series regular?
That's a good question, and it's a question that I have had a lot in the last week or so. I don't really know. Definitely to win championships and to win races helps a lot. Helps to, to move this process faster. I think Joy Racing has a good plan for me. For now, it seems like we are going to do something similar than what we did this year in the next 2017. But hopefully we can get the opportunity soon and take the best of it. I think it's going to be a huge step on my career, and I can't wait to get that opportunity to see how it is to race with all the big guys.
Sports fans, particularly in the United States, remember Joe Gibbs as one of the most dominant football coaches in the NFL. Daniel, what is it like to be racing for him?
It's very good. I have a lot of respect for Coach Gibbs. He's a very good friend and a very good boss as well. It takes a lot to be his age and to work as hard as he does, and to be in the shop every single day working with the team and to be so involved in the Cup Series and as well in the Xfinity Series. It takes a lot, and he works very hard to make everything happen, and I have a lot of respect for him. He gave me my first opportunity in the National Series, and I'll be very, very thankful with him for the opportunity my entire life. Be
honest. Did you have any idea about his NFL career before you started driving for him?
No, I did not. It's hard to ask for a kid of Mexico to know a lot about American football, but let me tell you something. As soon as I got my first contract with Joy Racing, I started to do some research because I needed to know a little bit more about my team, about my boss. But right now, I know enough to be dangerous, I guess.
Daniel Suarez, thank you for joining us. Have a very Merry Christmas. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you. And now it's time for our SI Now full-on feature countdown to the new year, in no particular order of greatness, of course, because, well, we love them all. He's big and jolly and dresses in bright red. No, it's not Santa Claus. Number 7 on our countdown tells the origin story of none other than baseball's favorite mascot, the Phillie Phanatic.
Oh, Phil and Phyllis, I remember, they were, I guess, our mascots at that time. I don't even know whether they walked around the stadium or not in outfits, did they? I don't even know where they're from, but I remember Phil and Phyllis. You're taking me almost 45 years back now.
Don Money slammed the first home run ever hit in Veterans Stadium. And his blow turned on Philadelphia Phil and Phyllis for the first time.
Phil and Phyllis, they were pilgrims, and we thought we could do a little better. So we created a character for them.
Of course, getting butts and seats, winning is what does it. But when you have a bad team, you have to do a lot of promoting.
And we were on a losing team for a while, from about 75 on. Obviously the attendance wasn't what you'd like it.
Our fans were being criticized for booing Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. You suck! This was an effort for Bill to create a promotion. We had Kite Man, we had cow chip throwing contest. So he did it right. He gets Jim Henson on the phone.
I said, okay, get a hold of the people that made Big Bird on Sesame Street. and let me talk to him.
Oh, it's him, all right. Dave Winfield.
And you're Big Bird.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Jim Henson sent people from the Phillies to talk to us about a promotion that they wanted to do. So they asked us to design a costume.
And I said, I would want something big and fat, green and fuzzy, undefinable.
Being a fanatic or being a real sports cheerleader, really, you'd have a megaphone. That's where the whole thing started, with the snout. And the fact that he could sort of spit out his tongue was a nice little addition to people who had booed the Easter Bunny. I thought it was appropriate.
You guessed it, the Philly fanatic has found George's box. He's out there having a little fun. Look, he gets a head full of popcorn. Oh, boy.
I didn't think the mascot was going to work. I liked the artwork they had done, and I said, now how much is this going to cost, the costume? They said $3,900, and we keep the copyright. Or they said $5,200, and you can have the copyright. And that's when I said, I don't think this is going to be any good, so I'll save the money.
We had total control of the character because we had the copyright. It was our character. We offered to sell it to them, but they chose not to do that, and they leased it for several years, where we did licensing and paid them a royalty. Here's one of the masks. Everybody put this together, put it on, and wished happy birthday to the Philly fanatic, and it was this whole sea of green Philly fanatic faces, which was great to see. We had license plates. This one's the coloring book. We did a jacket, the Grandstand Playbook.
We explained that we had incorporated this into this design, and that if you would do what we suggest, you could reap some benefits that you weren't even expecting. I don't think the Phillies really believed or even cared. I think they were very focused on just they wanted a character. They didn't care if it lasted for a season or not. And we said, well, you know, we think this has longevity, but we'll just have to see.
3 years later, I had to pay $500,000 for the copyright instead of the $2,200 I could have paid up front.
The gas cap on the three-wheeler that we had was right between my legs, and it was loose, and I didn't know it was loose. And I would pop a little wheelie. Well, in those days, you could smoke in the stands. So I remember popping the wheelie. As soon as I did it, I smelled, I looked down, the gas is running down the gas tank right into the crotch of the fanatic. And it was like an Alfred Hitchcock movie, because I saw that. I went down off of the wheelie, and I looked up, and there's a guy with a cigarette in the stands going, and I see him going, I'm just gonna flick this at the fanatic. And all I could think of was this, boom! And then like the Warner Brothers cartoons, there'd just be the fanatic and the little black ashes, and then just go to a little pile on the floor. And that truly is the, there's a lot of things that happen that were like, ooh, I take the costume off and I go, ooh, I shouldn't have done that.
Well, that was a tough decision, is to find out who's going to go in the costume. And we had a mailroom guy named Dave Raymond, and he was kind of a smart aleck kid. And I found out that his mother was deaf, so he had to talk with his hands a lot when he communicated with his mom.
My mother went deaf when I was 3. She would have the old Bell-Tel hearing aid would clip to her bra, and then she would have a cord that would go up to her ear. When we would get into a fight, my mom would go, click. Go watch 2 deaf people communicate with American Sign Language, and you will see this. It's all the stuff that people do in costume when they learn how to connect.
No way the fanatic was going to be able to do that. I don't know if he was trying to do it or if he was saying, you win.
A lot of times the attention was on the fanatic and not on what was going on the field. I was jealous. When I played, I hated it. He knew who he could play with and mess with and kid around with on the field, and he knew who to stay away from.
No disrespect to Schmitty. Schmitty's the greatest player I've ever played with. I got to think the fanatic he rules over anybody that ever played here.
Maybe, in fact, I was jealous of the Fanatic because he never got booed. Everybody loved him and me, and who knew what was going to happen in a given night? They hate me one minute, they love me the next, they hate me, they love me.
I mean, you know when the Fanatic enters. Let me put it that way. When Mike Schmidt hit, we all knew when Mike Schmidt hit. But when the Fanatic makes an entrance, it's something that you have to really see.
And I look at it now as a 66-year-old fan, broadcaster, a little bit more mature, a little more self-confident, and understand it more now. And the Fanatic fits right in perfectly.
What's happening, Fanatic? How are you? Isn't that nice of you? Yeah, thank you. My favorite person. Happy birthday.
Tom Lasorda hated him. Everyone thought that was an act, but knowing Tommy the way I know him, you know, he didn't like it very much.
Steve Sachs would get me Tommy's jersey. I would dress up the dummy as Tommy and do this routine. And that continued on until he decided to go on a slim fast diet with Oral Hershiser. He finally had it. He ran out, grabbed the dummy, hit me over the head with it, and it snapped the chin strap off.
Tommy's a little bit hot, I think.
And it was the only time in all the 17 years that the head almost came off. You'll see my hands go to it and pull it right back on.
He says you don't make fun of me or my ball club.
Covering sports for a living is a joy on so many levels. One reason for that is we get to meet incredibly inspiring people, many of whom have overcome tremendous odds to achieve their goals. One person we were honored to meet was Turia Pitt. Pitt was an ultra-marathon runner from Australia who was trapped in a brush fire and suffered burns all over her body. Since then, she's dedicated her life to organ and tissue donation and decided to take on another challenge, competing in an Ironman competition. Turia Pitt stopped by our studio recently. Turia, you're here in the United States. You're here on the mainland for the very first time, and I think people would really be interested in your story. And part of it started in September of 2011. You were competing in an ultramarathon and you were trapped by a brush fire. I'm sure it's very hard to relive that, but do you remember what was going through your mind as that was happening?
I think just when the fire was approaching, I felt like I'd been cheated because I thought this isn't when I'm supposed to go. And the one prominent thought in my mind was of my partner, Michael. And yeah, I felt really cheated. I felt like that wasn't how I was supposed to go. And I'm just really grateful to be here today. And I guess part of the reason why I'm in the US is when I received my injuries, there wasn't any skin in Australia at the time. So they actually ordered skin from America. They got it shipped to Australia, and that was what saved my life. So I'm eternally grateful to the 10 Americans.
So how can we fix that moving forward, where there can be skin available if something like this happens to a person who's not in the United States?
I think the issue comes down to just awareness about organ and tissue donation. I mean, most of us know what organs are used for, but when you talk about tissue, it's kind of a grey area for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people don't do it because they just don't know how it helps people. So I think it's really important to have that discussion with your friends and family about what your wishes might be.
Yeah. You mentioned that when this was happening, that you felt cheated.
Yeah.
And you spent over 2 years in the hospital recovering. What was going through your mind as you were making that recovery? Was that the same, did you go back to that same thought that this was not your time?
No, look, I've always been a big believer in setting a massive goal that really stretches you out of your comfort zone. And when the doctor said to me that I wouldn't run again, it was like a light bulb moment for me. I thought, oh, I'll show you, I'll do an Ironman one day. Even though at that time I had no idea what an Ironman even was. I just knew it was the epitome of fitness. So even back in the early days in hospital when I was walking 5 meters or, just practicing how to get out of a chair, I'd think to myself, this is really hard, but this is going to get me to the start of the line at Ironman.
And not only have you gotten to the start of the line, you've gotten to the finish line twice. Describe what it was like to cross that finish line.
Yeah, it's indescribable. It's look, it's weird because it's the culmination of the hours and hours of training, all of the sweat, all of the tears, all of the monotonous days, all of the times where you just think, it's just too much, I'm not doing it anymore. All of it culminates in this, probably goes for 2 minutes, you know, running down that finishing chute. But you hear the crowd, and that gives you so much energy, and you cross the finishing line, and Mike Riley, the voice of Ironman, says, "You are an Ironman." And yeah, no words can describe it. And you know what? No amount of money can buy that experience either.
Nobody can ever take that away from you.
And no one can take it away from me, yeah. So it's pretty special.
We're going to see you on the NBC premiere of the Ironman special, which is so much fun. If there's someone who's going through what you are, I know it's such a personal thing, but is there some advice that you could give to people?
Yeah, look, I would say set a goal, you know, something that really stretches them. And it also gives you something to focus on other than what you're going through. It gave me something other to focus on rather than just dwelling on what had happened to me. It gave me something to strive for, and I think that's the really beautiful thing about a goal. And when you achieve a goal that really stretches you, that forces you out of your comfort zone, that's going to give you more confidence, more belief in your abilities, more resilience. So I would say set a goal.
It's fantastic what you did, what you continue to do for organ and tissue donation, and we really look forward to watching you on NBC special. Turia, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thank you.
What a truly amazing young woman. And that will do it for this Thursday edition of SI Now. We'll see you back here tomorrow when Peter King makes his annual appearance as everyone's favorite holiday hero, Peter Claus. Find out who is on his NFL's naughty and nice list. But until then, stick with SI.com for the latest news, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. See you tomorrow.